Right, I'm getting seriously behind on the Patreon thank yous, and we will rectify that now. So, massive thank you to Aaron Fox, to Kristian Holland, and to Scotland Serenity for jumping on board the Lollujo party bus. If you would like to get involved as well, you can find out how to back the Patreon. All the details are down in the description to this very video, and they pop up somewhere around there at some point soon as well. Thank you very much for the support. It does make a massive, massive difference. Hello and welcome to Season 7 Part 2 of Non-Leader Legend. I'm Kev, and coming up on today's episode we're going to get completely smashed twice probably, because that already seems to be developing as the theme for this season. Since you were last with me, we managed to knock Queen of the South out of the Betfred Cup, whatever that is, on penalties, but then also only managed to draw with them in the league, which is a problem because they're the worst team in the division. And I think we might be just as bad as them. We also lost away at Dundee United. We're playing Rangers and Aberdeen today. That's just not going to end well for us, is it? Surely. The league table at the moment, I know we're only 3 games in, but we already find ourselves back in the position that we finished last season, second from bottom. And yeah, we are being outclassed consistently by the teams that we're playing against. But don't worry, I have an answer to it all. I've just brought in a load of Southend players and former Southend players, because surely that's how you solve the problem. So I'm not sure how many of these were here when I think we'd signed all as far as Mark Brown, hadn't we? So I think the new ones. Patrick Drury, you might remember him from Southend. He was the youngster who didn't ever score any goals. Well, he's here. He's already made his Ladbrokes Premiership debut and was rubbish. We've also signed Raquel Pike permanently. He's still trying to get himself match fit. Raquel Pike fitness problems. It's like last season all over again. So we haven't seen him play yet. But he's valued at £400,000 and is the 8th best striker at the club. So, you know, he can play at any time. We've brought in Thomas Shiro on loan as well, based purely on that goal he scored for Southend right towards the end of last season. I can't even remember if you lot saw or whether it happened offline, but it was brilliant. And that's the basis that we've signed him on. He's here on loan for the season, has made his debut. It was completely unspectacular. And then in the interests of bringing in youngsters that I found and want to show off that I know what I'm doing, we've also signed Mark Priso on loan for the season, because he looked quite good in that little spell he had in the team last year. He hasn't yet made his debut for us, although he has played for the under-20s in some other cup competition, which apparently counts as a real appearance, and he scored a hat-trick. I don't understand how Scottish cup competitions work. Yesterday I asked about the league. Today you need to explain what all these different cup competitions there are, because from what I can tell, there's 3 of them, and I don't understand any of them. The one thing we didn't manage to do during the transfer window was sign a goalkeeper. We still have another 3 or 4 days left. We might be able to bring a keeper in, but realistically, there isn't really one that I've identified that's going to improve the team enough. We keep finding goalkeepers who are sort of 2.5, 3 star. And according to my assistant manager, Norberto Miguel is already 3.5 star with 5 star potential. He's better than any of the goalkeepers we've been able to find. So a goalkeeper who wasn't good enough for a poor Southend team in the Championship last year has got to go up against Rangers today. We're going to concede like 8 goals, and there's nothing we can do about it. So this is the team for today's game. We've got Miguel in goal, a back 4 of Leahy. No one knows. Double L. There you go. LL. Luke. We've had a Luke before. Jackson, Devlin and Gillespie. Then Hamilton, Doherty and Cash in midfield, with Logan in behind Burkhart and Knox. Apparently, according to the comments from yesterday, Matthew Knox is quite good in Football Manager. I'd assumed he was a regen. Now looking at his face, I realise he probably isn't, and he probably does exist in real life. But for us to be in Season 7 and for him to still only be 22, he must be quite young at the start of the game. I want him to score lots of goals. I want him to prove that he is one of the best strikers, one of the best young strikers in Football Manager. How he's ended up at Hamilton, I don't know. I guess his whole career hasn't really gone to plan so far. Right, squad numbers. There you go. Mark Priso can have a squad number despite already having a hat-trick on his record for the season. I don't understand Scottish Cup competitions. I don't know who Ollie Harfield is. Yeah, we might have risked him if I could remember who he was. I don't care about Rangers players. Is there anyone in there I recognise? No, of course they're not. We're 7 years into the future. I wouldn't be able to name any current Rangers players in the real world. There's no chance I'm going to know Rangers players 7 years in the future, most of which are probably made up. What I am worried about is how badly we're going to get beaten today, because we haven't yet scored a victory this season, and I don't think today's video is going to be the time we start winning games. If we do, then European finish, etc., etc. The whole, Kev shut the game down yesterday, now we'll start with a winning streak. He's rebooted. That means we'll stop losing every game, but obviously that's not going to happen. There's 5 minutes on the clock. We're 1-0 down, and I have a feeling it's not going to get any better from here. I don't know that I know what I'm doing at Hamilton. This might end up being a bad idea. A lot of you did question on yesterday's video, why on earth have I come to Hamilton? Why have I come to Scotland? I think I made it pretty clear on yesterday's video, but just to clarify again, they were the only team that offered me a job. I applied for lots of jobs. I had a couple of interviews, but the only club that offered me a job were Hamilton. And as soon as they did, on the money that they offered me, I'm bound by the own rules I've imposed on myself to accept it, because they almost trebled my wages. In the real world, if someone up in Scotland rang me tomorrow and said, do you want to move up here and we'll treble your wages, you'll be able to buy £1 million house, I don't care if I'm going to be any good at that job, or if I'm going to know what I'm doing in that job. I'm going to take that job. So that's the thought process I put into this. So I feel a little bit out of my depth, a little bit out of my comfort zone. I don't think my adaptability as a manager is any good, because I never bother setting that particularly high, because I don't usually go abroad. So whether you needed good adaptability to go slightly further north than the Carlisle job would have been, I don't know. But I think if we just avoid getting relegated this season and then reevaluate in the summer, maybe try and move on again if we're not enjoying it or not doing well. Although Burkhart's in here and it's 1-1 away against Rangers in front of 48,000 people, our £750,000 superstar signing from the summer gets in behind the Rangers defence, and Kev's being captain negative, and it's 1-1 against Rangers at the moment. We're not being thumped 8-0. Oh, shall we steal it? Wouldn't it be nice to steal it? And in fact, if you look at the stats, it's been a fairly even game. Knox still not playing well. We'll take him off and bring Hardy on. And Luke Leahy, probably because I can't say his name right, isn't having the best of games. So we'll drop Hamilton back and bring on... Do we bring on Sterling or Shiro? We're playing Rangers. We better bring on a player who's not just a promising kid on loan from a lower championship English team. That all flowed nicely in my head before I said it. Don't. Just leave it. The Rangers are attacking again, and 2-1. And it's just easy for them. I mean, they've only had the one clear-cut chance, but that's all they've needed. They're just clinical. And from a set piece, he's completely unmarked. So we're not marking him. And our goalkeeper's not anywhere close to saving it. It was just poor defending. I don't mind if we get completely outplayed, but for it to all go wrong from a set piece like that is just annoying. We're going to take off Devlin because he's on a yellow card, he's not playing well, and he's shattered. And we'll bring on... Do we bring on the youngster? No, he's not match... In fact, this is how you get him match fit. Steve McIntosh, the one who all the English teams have been offering me like £1 million, £1.5 million for. He's only ever played once before for Hamilton, and that was in our last game. He came off the bench as well. So the sooner we can get him in the team, the better. But part of me's thinking if we can get sort of £2.5 million for him, let's sell him and reinvest. But then we run into the same problem that I've already got £1.5 million sat there to spend, and I can't spend it because I can't find anyone who'll come to us, who'll improve the squad, who we can afford the wages of. It's a really frustrating situation to be in, but we're playing some nice football here, but Hamilton doesn't quite get there. We haven't embarrassed ourselves against Rangers there. Yes, we are still looking for our first win of the season, but I think there's some positives we can take out of that into the Aberdeen game, which is coming up next. And maybe, just maybe, we might finally win a football match. Right, the transfer window is closed. We did do a little bit more business. Nothing that's going to significantly change the team for today. We've brought in James Chester on a free transfer. He's been playing for Everton in the Championship for the last couple of years, previously at Villa, and all his real-life history as well. He's come in, not necessarily to come into the side, but to be a mentor for McIntosh, the 18-year-old who all the Premier League clubs want. We almost had to sell him on deadline day. Southampton came in with a £2 million bid. I decided to keep hold of him. He's on a 3-year contract with us. There's no reason to let him go when we don't need the money. He has got a £2.7 million minimum fee release clause, though, so whether we'll keep him long term, I'm not sure. We brought in yet another option as a striker. Alex Babis comes in from Posh, mainly because we got him fairly on the cheap. I tried to sign him for Southend last year, and Posh wanted £2 million for him. I've gone back in again, got George Boyd doing negotiations for me, obviously with his links at Posh, better than mine. And he's got us a good deal on him. He's not scored gazillions of goals for Peterborough, but I just think he offers us something a little bit different to what we already had at the club. He's quick, he's a decent finisher, and given time, I think he'll score goals for us. And then a little bit of a panic buy because he was available and he can play anywhere across the back four or in midfield. Cuco Martina, 32-year-old, will play primarily as right back. Probably not a first choice right back, but he's another one who can come in and do a little bit of tutoring, mentoring stuff, and just add a little bit of experience to the squad, because I have signed a lot of young players and we were a little bit light on experience. So I'm hoping the players that I've brought in will bring in a little bit more experience, which is needed in the squad to help us get through what are currently difficult times. So this is the team that we're going to be playing against Aberdeen. By the way, couldn't find a goalkeeper. Really tried. Could not find one better than Miguel. So Miguel is going to be our goalkeeper for the season. He's in goal today. The only other changes we've got from the team that did quite well against Rangers are that Gillespie has moved into midfield. I can't remember what I've done. It's been 2 weeks. Gillespie's moved into midfield. Hendry's come in at right back, and Babis is now sat there on the bench, ready to come on if needed. McIntosh, where is he? Can't even find him. I need to take all these. Oh, we have got a big squad. Goodness me. This is a problem that needs fixing. There's McIntosh sat on the bench. Why isn't he even... In fact, he's not even sat on the bench. Let's get him onto the bench at the very least. He can take his place on the bench. We probably need to get him starting at some point. James Chester also not on the bench. Our squad is too big. I hadn't realised quite how carried away I've signed 19 players, I think. And that is... no wonder. Oh, I'm going to get fired. This is a disaster. Right. We need to win our first game of the season today. We still haven't won a league match. We're playing against Aberdeen. They are obviously favourites, even though only being one place above us in the league. We're just rubbish. I don't understand how we're quite as poor as we are, but we are. And let's have a win. I don't know what else I can do. I could try different formations, but they've never worked as well as this one for me, so there's not really any point. Logan in a decent position finds Cash, who forces a save out of the Aberdeen goalkeeper. And there you go, we've had a shot already. See? Less than a minute on the clock, and we've had a screaming effort from long range. And our second corner now. Gillespie to take. It's headed clear, but Gillespie gets a chance to put it back into the area. He's running the wrong way, though, and eventually finds Hendry. That was all a little bit odd. He's a bit old and not very attacking, but it would have been nice to see him either play the ball across to someone in the middle a little bit earlier, or at the very least attempt to move back towards his own goal. There was a box full of our players you could cross to, and in the end we didn't even get a cross in, so it was all a little bit wasted. But we've started really brightly. 20 minutes on the clock. We've already had a clear-cut chance. We've had more shots than they have. We're doing okay. This is probably the best I've seen us play in the league so far. Hold on, that's Aberdeen I'm looking at there. They've had the clear-cut chance. We've still done okay because it was fairly even. Oh, Kev, wake up, man. So we've had 7 shots, but 6 have been from long range. It's not quite so positive. They've had a clear-cut chance. Why did I look in that column? I know we're Hamilton. Well, at least it's still only 0-0. We can still mug them. I'm running out of ideas, folks. Let me know down in the comments. How do I fix this mess I've got myself into? I've got a mansion to pay for. I can't go getting fired. What am I going to do with a Scottish mansion if I have to go and work in Portugal or somewhere because I get fired from here. Oh, and all that money. Mind you, I suppose if I get fired, I get a nice big payoff. What am I on, a 2-year contract? Might need to look into that because I am starting to get worried that we might get a firing. But Burkhardt's in again and he scores again. It's his second goal of the episode. It's 1-0 to us. We've had our first clear-cut chance as well, which obviously is that Burkhardt chance. He's our most expensive player of all the summer signings. And thank goodness he looks like we've not wasted the money on him. It's a tidy little finish. It's 1-0. If we could get Knox scoring goals as well, we could have quite a good strike partnership. That's all we need. If we can start scoring goals, do it the way we did it at Southend. Just outscore teams. Oh, if we can win this match, I suddenly become a lot more positive. Oh, but they're coming at us again, and our defence is just a little bit iffy. Bearing in mind we've got James Chester and the young superstar McIntosh sat on the bench. We've got options. What a goal, though. Hugo Logan has just scored an absolute screamer. We all whinge a little bit about the fact we have too many long shots. This is why I don't mind us having long shots, because when they come off, they look like that, and it's brilliant, and we're 2-0 up, and we might actually be about to win our first match of the season, which, because there's only 12 teams in the Scottish Premier League, it makes a massive difference. We should probably make some substitutions. Right, what are we going to do? We're going to take Jackson off and bring on the youngster because I want as much game time into him as possible. Need to get him starting games, really. We're also going to take off Grant Gillespie and bring on Doherty. I want to bring on Babis as well. I think I'm going to bring on Babis for Knox. And one of the main pieces of thinking behind signing Babis was I want Knox to realise he's not an automatic starter anymore. He's been the main man at Hamilton for at least a year. He's not the main man here anymore. He's just one of our many striking options, and he needs to sort himself out or he's going to find himself not starting matches anymore, which would be a bit of a shame because he was good enough last year to get himself a first cap and a first goal for Scotland, but we've got £1.5 million of a striker up front for us now. There can't be many teams of our sort of size who can say that. Right, Cash loses the ball, but it doesn't matter. We've only got 3 seconds left on the clock. They're not going to score 2 goals in that time. And we've finally won a football match. We're up to the giddy heights of 9th place in the SPL. Happy days. It's all become that much more positive again. Whew. Just out of interest, let's see how long my contract is. So my contract is for 2 years. So if we get fired, there's a big payoff. Someone has to look at my manager profile as well. That might be one of the reasons why we're struggling quite so much with moving to a different country, because I have no adaptability and I can't work with youngsters. So I've gone abroad and I've signed loads of young players. Brilliant. If you've enjoyed that, make sure you pop a like on there for me. Subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more. And thank you very much for watching.